Dr. Elmer, Advanced Neurospinal Solutions, and welcome to Ask the Doctor. The question today is, why is protein so important? In fact, let's read that. Why is protein so important for the brain? And what is protein fatigue? Whoa, that's a brilliant question. Why is protein so important for the brain? The brain has a lot of nerves in it. Imagine nearly 1 trillion cells, if not more than 1 trillion cells, that are just nerve cells. And those cells are dependent upon their shape and their structure and all the stuff that's inside of it. It's like a little city inside. It's really cool to study it, especially the more you study it, the more you can kind of get inside of it, walk around, and look at everything. And not only look at all the pieces, parts, but look at them functioning all at the same time, kind of like as you're driving around the city and seeing all these people going on all these places and that. It's like that inside the cell. And so the stuff that makes up the cell much of it is made of protein. So it's vital for the function of the cell, for its shape, for all the things that all the pieces, parts, but also its ability to function. We've talked about this many times, that when we fire a nerve, it creates a current down the nerve, kind of like an electrical wire, that we get shifting in these ions that creates that current down the nerve. But what happens before that in the nucleus is called immediate early gene response. So if I ask the nerve to fire, I give it enough right, enough neurotransmitters for it to wake up and want to fire, it has to go through a thing called immediate early gene response, cellular immediate early gene response. That immediate early gene response I call cellular housekeeping. When stuff goes bad, it has to be replaced, and it has to be replaced in real time. If we use something in the cell and we use it a lot, it's going to go bad. And so it's going to have to be broken down, and we use the pieces, parts, and it's going to have to be, we're going to have to make more stuff, right? But we're going to have what we need to make those things. Imagine if we have a mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell. We want to make more because some of them are degrading and going bad. Imagine you've got 1,000 of these mitochondria in each cell, which how do you get 1,000 of anything in those tiny little things? I have no idea. So, but imagine if you want to make some more mitochondria, because let's say 5 of them go bad because they've been in use, they wear out, and so now with cellular immediate early gene response, we can make more of them because that process opens up the DNA and allows us to make the proteins that are going to make that. Oh, yeah, we said protein, didn't we? And that's what we're talking about. Those proteins, we have to have protein in order to be able to go through that process of using the cellular immediate early gene response to replace stuff. And that's the essence of neuroplasticity. We're going to go through that immediate early gene response. So we have that I'm going to fire the nerve, but I have to have the protein. So remember what we talked about. 3 things we got to have for the cell: oxygen, carbs and sugars, and activation. If you don't use it, you lose it. We say that a lot. But if you're going to activate it, you got to have protein. So we see this all the time, and here the person didn't have the amount of protein they need. We need 4 installments of protein. As soon as we get out of bed, we got to get some protein, 15 to 20 grams. We're going to get a snack between breakfast and lunch, and we're going to have lunch, and we're going to have a snack between lunch and dinner. Each one of those installments is going to have 15 to 20 grams of protein. In that, we are giving the protein that's needed to fire the nerves. Well, they come in and they don't have the amount of protein that they need, and I do these simple little eye exercises, and I do 1 and 2, and they can't do any more, right? And I say, you didn't get enough protein. Oh no, I got plenty of protein. And I say, when was the last time? And anyway, we figure out that they need more protein. I give them some almonds, and they eat several, and they're able to do 6 of those now before it gets tired. And then eventually we get to the point where I can do a bunch of these. Well, that's protein fatigue. Neural fatigue due to lack of protein. And I'm not the guy who's out picketing against carbs and sugars. You heard me say oxygen, number 1, number 2, carbs and sugars. We need that. I tend to recommend that we have it more towards the end of the day, and that we have our protein and fats in the early part of the day, and that. But the protein is absolutely necessary to go through firing the nerve so that we can do immediate early gene response, which allows for it, and that. So hopefully that answers all those questions. It's a pretty big subject. It's really cool subject when you start to dive in it on a cellular level and that. But you can see that the need for protein, the closer you get to the truth, the simpler the solution. Now you know the value of protein in making it so that you can think and do all the functions that you need to do as a human being. So if you have any questions, please ask. I'm happy to do many more videos. We're currently adding more and more often. And remember, we're here when you're ready to take your life back.